Hi there, my name's Bill, and I want to welcome you to my YouTube channel. I've thought about this for a long time, and I'm a storyteller from a long time ago. Ever since I was a little kid, I used to tell stories about my life, stories about things that happened to me, things as I grow up, messing around, playing around, swimming in creeks, lots of different things. Everybody told me that I have the gift for telling a story. So I thought that one of these days I would eventually get the opportunity to tell people my stories. So I want to welcome you here so that you can take part in my life and those around me over the course of 60 years to see what in the world happened and what's going on. Let me start out by telling you that I was born in 1961 in Phoenix, Arizona. And at that time, Phoenix was a great place to live. Um, we had such a wonderful life. But enough of that for right now. What I'd like to start with is I like to get things out of the way and to let you know that there's an elephant in the room that some people may be looking at and going, hey, how come Bill only has 1.5 ears? And, that's a good question. And it's a story in itself. It wouldn't necessarily be the first story I'd start with, but because it's the thing that people are going to look at. So let me start by saying I've had a lot of skin cancer in my life. It started about, maybe 40 years ago, and basal cell carcinoma and some squamous cell carcinoma. So what happened with my ear, I ended up with what I thought was a precancer in my inside of my ear, and I ended up going to a dermatologist where he told me that, well, you've got this cancer. It's gone into cancer. It's in your cartilage, and there really isn't much we can do except, cut it off. And I thought, well, I'm kind of attached to my appendages, like so many of us are, and cutting off a piece of your ear just doesn't really sound very inviting. But he assured me that the alternative was worse. And so we made an appointment, and I came in on the day that he says, well, we're just going to go ahead and cut it off. And I thought, man, how much of my ear are you going to cut off? And he said, well, only what we need to. So there he went. He deadened my ear, and his assistant came in, and he proceeded with the procedure, and he cut off a piece of my ear. Well, it was pretty exciting at the time because the assistant all of a sudden starts running around. He starts running all over the place. And as this excitement's going on, I'm just sitting there kind of oblivious to the whole situation. And I said to the doctor, I said, hey, can I see the part you cut off? I want to see what's left. And he said, yeah, just a minute. And they're moving around and they're pushing on my ear and they're being quiet, but I'll tell you, they just were making a lot of fuss. Eventually, the guy ends up where he's got this gauze shoved up against my head, and the doctor hands me the piece of ear that he cut off. And I'm like, whoa, wow, that's a lot of ear. And I gave it back to him, and he left the room, and the doctor, the assistant, he kept working, and eventually he puts a big old bandage on my ear, and he tells me quite emphatically, well, hey, I need you to know that you can stop any bleeding simply by pushing pressure on it, hold pressure on it for up to, about 5 minutes. And I thought that was odd at the time, but I decided, okay, well, he knew what he was talking about. And okay, so if there's any little bit of bleeding or anything, then I could, put pressure on it and take care of it. So I got my truck and I came home. And by the way, home is in the heart of Texas, Central Texas. We moved here a few years ago, about 2021, my wife and I, Cindy. You're going to meet her a lot in these videos because she's a prominent player. She's quite involved, and she actually is the love of my life, and she's gonna you're gonna come to love her. Anyway, so I come home and I've got this great big bandage on my ear, and it's got blood everywhere, and it's running down my neck, and I'm thinking, well, I don't want to go to the store or anything, so I better go home and just see what I can do. Well, I get home, and we live in an RV. At the time, we lived in an RV, a motorhome. And did I mention I have a dog? Well, I have a dog. I have a big Rottweiler, a big male Rottweiler. His name is Chico. And if you speak Spanish or know Spanish, you'll know that Chico, translated, means small. So I kind of got a kick out of naming my dog Chico because he's a big 130-pound Rottweiler, and I call him, hey, small, come here. And the Spanish-speaking people around, they all chuckle when I say that, and they hear me calling Chico. Well, anyway, I went into the bathroom in the motorhome, and Chico was kind of off in the other room, just relaxing, doing dog stuff, and I pulled the bandage off real gentle, like, and man, I'll tell you what, it was a mess. That blood was a mess. And I kind of tipped my head sideways and looked at that ear, and I said, wow, there was a whole lot more gone than I thought, and it was all red and bloody, and my knees buckled. I'll tell you that. I never considered myself a squeamish person, but my knees started buckling, and I had to hang on to the sink. I kind of rocked back and forth like this, and I got a little nauseous, and I said, that's okay, I'm a tough guy, I can do this. It's not a problem. And I looked back up in the mirror again at that ear, and all of a sudden I'm getting woozy, and next thing I know, I was on the floor. I didn't know I was on the floor until all of a sudden Chico came over, and he's licking my face. He's just licking my face, and I'm looking up at him going, wow, how'd I get here? I had no idea that I passed out. I had no idea I was laying on the floor. And, of course, Chico must have heard the big thump, my big body hitting the floor. And he came over to make sure I was all right. And here I was not answering him. And he starts licking my face. And I look at him and I said, Chico, I'm okay. I'll be all right. And so he laid down right there on the floor beside me, put his head up against my head. And he said, okay, I'll be here with you, Dad. No problem. You let me know when you get ready to get up. And, I would have said I could have got up after just maybe a minute or two, but I was about 20 minutes. I was laying on that floor. I guess that vision of my ear being gone was a whole lot worse than I thought. Well, anyway, so I finally managed to struggle back up and stand up on the floor and got my legs up underneath me, and Chico says, okay, my job's done. I got him back into the world, and he's kicking and moving. And so, he went off to bed, and I managed to clean my ear up and put a new bandage on it. And I ended up, I called my wife. She was off at work, and I let her know that, hey, don't worry, I'm okay. I passed out, I was on the floor, but Chico was here. And he took care of me, and he brought me back. And so everything's okay, honey. You don't have to worry about it. And so that is the story of this ear and why Bill's running around with a half a ear on one side. Now, the doctor told me, he said, I did you a favor because I left the top half. And most people won't even notice that you got a half a ear gone because they're going to look at your head symmetrically. And I said, oh, come on, Doc. You know what? That ear is gone. That half a ear is gone, and it's not coming back. And he said, yeah, but everybody will get used to it. And, for the most part, that's true. I think most people are just polite, and they don't want to ask you, hey, what happened to your ear? Well, so there you have the story. And Those are the kinds of stories that I want to tell. I want to tell stories of just me, my life, uh, what's going on in my life, what's happened in my life. There's exciting stories, there's sad stories, there's going to be funny stories, and there's going to be stories that are going to make some people angry. And I'm not going to apologize for the stories that are in my life because they're my life. Um, I want you to know that I'm a born again believer in Jesus Christ. My wife and I have been missionaries overseas, uh, all over the world, and God has used us in miraculous ways. So, a lot of the stories that I'm going to tell are going to be about Jesus. They're going to be about what God's done in our life and through our ministry and in other people's lives. And again, I don't make apologies for those things. God called us into the mission field. God called us to do the things that He's asked us to do. And I hope that if you decide that you want to take this venture with us and see some of the life of Bill and Cindy, that you'll enjoy it, that you'll get pleasure. You may cry sometimes, you may be angry sometimes, but all in all and through it all, you're going to find that it's quite of a ride. We've lived an exciting life. I want to say another thing about Cindy. You're going to find in these stories that why in the world would this woman even stay with me? I tell you what, I seem to be a very accident-prone person. I seem to, if it can happen, it's going to happen to me. This here is a perfect example of that. You just don't expect these things to happen. And now I wouldn't expect Cindy to leave me over the partial amputation of an ear. I wouldn't. But we've had some other things in our lives that you might think, wow. And she has stood by me. She has stood by me in lots of things. And I think that that's the proof that when God brings two people together, and they love each other, that He's going to work through all the circumstances. He's going to work through all the situations. And I'll tell you, we've had a bunch. We've had a bunch of really big situations. So anyway, I'll cut this video off now, but I wanted to say I hope you'll take this ride with us and that you'll get a lot out of it. And I want to thank you again for tuning into this video and look for some more to come. All right? Bye now.